The next letter in the word caged would be the A. We've covered the C, the chord form, and the accompanying pentatonic scale form. Let's go back to that. There's your C chord. Now, if we go to a folk A chord, it looks like that. You might play it like that. A bad fingering is trying to cram 1, 2, 3 in there. I don't recommend that. 2, 1, 3 is a great fingering. There are classical guitar fingerings. Point being, you could finger it a lot of different ways, but the shape would be like that. If I want to set myself up to turn that into a movable chord form, I'll cram my second, third, and fourth fingers in there, clamp my capo to the left of the nut because the guitar is doing the work of the capo. And where is my root? It's an A chord, therefore the fifth string open is the root. That's your locator. If I raise every string, every note 1 fret, I would get what chord? An A sharp or a B flat. Now this fingering isn't too practical on an electric guitar because it's kind of cramped, especially when you start getting the higher frets. In classical guitar, where you have a wider neck, it's a very efficient fingering. It's commonly used, and it covers up pretty high on the neck. So what that means is that generally you see a fifth string rooted bar chord fingered like this. But do you see how it is what we would call an A form because it was derived from this original A chord? Therefore, your root is always on the fifth string. Now we're going to make some connections because earlier on I said you want to depend on patterns to a certain degree. Here's a C chord. This is the first letter of the word caged. The next letter in the word caged is A. Therefore, the next voicing and fingering would always be the A form, and it doesn't matter what key you're in. Here we are in C. I'll play against the track and just play those chords. And I would encourage you just to practice playing against the C jam track and just get comfortable at linking these two together to where you don't have to really think anymore. You're seeing the same C note as the point of reference. We then said that if you have the chord, there's an arpeggio that chord's coming out of, and those are comprised of the root, third, and fifth. In this position, with this voicing, it will always be as follows. Fifth, root, third, fifth, root, third, fifth. These are all charted out, so you want to see those, and that way you can see all kind of different chord forms, different voicings, whatever you want, by mixing the notes together and deleting notes, whatever you want. I'm going to play along with the track and just use the arpeggio. We're using this same format throughout this entire lesson. What I just played were double stops using every other string. Every other note in the arpeggio. To me, that's a little more interesting than just saying, well, okay, it's a C chord on the chart or in the song is what the band's playing. I'll just go and then start trying to hunt for something to play. See the chord, see the arpeggio that chord is built out of, and then the next step, which we'll show in the next segment here, will be the pentatonic that resides on top of that. Let's again change keys. What if we're against our E jam track? Where is E on the fifth string? Well, it hasn't moved since a couple of minutes ago. It's still up here in the seventh fret of the fifth string. Previously, you put your little finger on that. That gave you the C form of the E chord. Now we want the A form. You put your index finger on there. Here's the jam track. Next segment, we'll talk about the pentatonic that resides on top of that.